Tricksters with dazzling hands. The shoulder tap and the mind fades away. A serial rapist and his invisible crime. This is the art of pukau. The crime of mind control. Malaysia, thriving metropolis, a hotspot for investment and tourism. And like with every city that is reeling in wealth, there are always some unwelcome characters lurking around, looking to enrich themselves in ways that go beyond the legal, even go beyond the mind. We have all heard about crimes involving distraction, confusion, and mind manipulation that have been around for the longest time. These have been the staple of con artists and tricksters all over the world. But in Malaysia, it comes with some mind-boggling twists. While some of the methods are simply cunning and slick, sometimes it can even border on the magical, with traces of arcane practices, and the victims are simply left in a daze.
Dia ambil beg dia taruh dalam poket saya. Saya terkedu. Saya tak boleh buat apa.
In a deep trance.
Ada orang dari belakang usik lah Mak Ngah. Dia tepuk belakang. Lepas Mak Ngah dia kena usik dia orang tu, apa kata dia orang, Mak Ngah ikut.
Or totally knocked out by a particularly deceptive method called pukau, a blend of hypnosis and mind control.
Itu yang menghairankan saya sebab dalam masa yang terlalu singkat, dia boleh geledah 2 bilik di atas, 1 bilik di bawah dan di tingkat bawah sekali lah. Saya terdetik, adakah aku ni dipukau?
Local newspapers in Malaysia are frequently adorned with reports about unsuspecting locals being dispossessed of their valuables in some sensational or unexplainable way.
Kalau kita tak kena pukau, kita tak sesenang-senang kita nak bagi orang duit, sedangkan anak kita minta pun kita marah kan. Bukan senang kita nak kumpul duit nak bagi dia. Tapi dah kita kena pukau, sesenang je kita bagi dia duit. Beremah lagi kita bagi pula dia lagi. Tak cukup.
Sometimes it was their money, sometimes jewelry, sometimes even a car.
When he left, I go to my office. I feel something wrong somewhere. And then I just take out my purse and car. It's 1,600 missing. Saya parking kereta, saya naik atas, keluar duit 20,000. Duit saya lebih kurang 6,000 ringgit. But my money was intact when he left. The money is intact. Never touch it, never pull out any money. Wah, Ben tanya, buat apa banyak ni? Saya pun tak jawab. Masih macam kata orang Kedah tenggelam puncak. Lebih kurang 500 meter baru saya sedar saya ni kena pukau.
Research reveals that these sort of crimes do occur in many other parts of the world too, but perhaps less frequently. What is consistent across these cases, though, is the fact that victims all claim to have been made unaware of their own situation or the criminal act being performed upon them. The best equivalent for pukau, the Malay word that describes this phenomenon, is perhaps spellbinding. Many people in Malaysia are inclined to believe that pukau does in fact involve spells with aspects of the supernatural or some sort of black magic. But could there be a more scientific explanation? Based on numerous testimonies from victims, it is clear that pukau is very real, and the victims can be found just about anywhere and in a variety of roles or situations. But what remains to be seen is whether science or some special expert knowledge can explain what is really going on behind these amazing crimes. Mia Mutside, an ex-bodyguard, and Lim Ah Chai, a residence association leader, would seem like very unlikely targets. But they both fell victim to the same type of pukau with almost identical elements.
Arak ni tepuk bau saya. Dia kata, my friend, picture money. Can you show me a Malaysian dollar? Yeah, I said no problem. Because you were the tourist. I just took out $100 notes to show you. Saya kata boleh. Dia bagi tunjuk duit $100. Lepas tu dia ambil duit dia, dia taruh beg duit dia masuk dalam poket saya. Dia dua orang, satu bini dia dalam kereta dengan anak. Dalam kereta dengan anak. Memang kita kesimpati. Memang betul. Siap dengan anak dia, dengan bini dia, tunjuk, tengok, you see, my son not kid. The wife came down from the car and back, stand at the back of me. Kita percayalah bini ada, takkan dia nak menyamun. Dia nak pukau kita. Pakai dengan long sleeve dia, bercakap dengan janggut lemah lembut dia. Cair maya kita yang banyak. Saya pun keluarlah beg duit saya, bagi dekat dia. Dia tak ambil duit, cuma dia pegang-pegang, tengok-tengok begitu je. Dalam kereta ada 5 orang tu. Saya bawa Renault dengan ekor Renault tu, dalam 5 orang. He never touch me also. If he touch me, I feel something lah. But he not even touch me. Saya sah ni pukau. Nombor 2, saya cakap dia silap mata. Bagi saya lah, pandangan saya, pukau dan dia silap.
The tricksters then thanked Mia for his patience, even though he was unable to help.
Okay. Selepas itu, dia ambil balik beg dia, lepas tu beg saya dia bagi. He hold the $100 notes and then and then refund back to me. Tapi saya heran duit saya, dia tak, orang kata dia tak perlu duit, dia tak keluar. Dia tak keluar duit. But my money was intact when he left. The money is intact. Never touch it, never pull up any money. Was intact, 100% intact. Dia masuk beg duit dia tu dalam poket saya. Saya berasa macam awan-awangan, macam sedar tidak sedar. Saya ikut saja apa kehendak dia. I feel something wrong somewhere. Lebih kurang 500 meter baru saya sedar duit saya tinggal separuh. And then I just take up my purse and count. It's 1,600 missing. Dia mana tahu saya duit ada? Bawa taksi.
The art of pukau, or to hypnotize, may be truly baffling to some. But sometimes to understand it, all you have to do is see it in a different angle.
Pukau is a Malay term, but the more common usage would be hypnotism.
People like to relate the crime to hypnosis basically because they are not fully aware of what hypnosis is about.
Well, in my opinion, there is no such thing as pukau. And what they actually do is basically street magic.
Typically, for an offender or a perpetrator of such crimes, this individual is well-dressed, well-mannered.
You always think that these people are very nice people. They bring along their children and then they are couple, and you let go of the defense system.
A pukau-artist can go to a victim and say, "Please, sir, I need help."
So when this person approaches a potential victim, there is no nervousness, there is no questioning.
Like, "Please, sir, I need to buy food for my child." This is the distraction already. He's like, food, child.
In this instance, what happens is that the victim is put into a situation whereby he or she feels pressured to act favorably on behalf of the offender. So the situation is created by the offender.
When you see a person well-dressed, well-behaved, you also let go of the defense mechanism as well.
So what they actually do is, they will go up to a victim, a potential victim, and saying like, "Sir, do you have a change for $100 US dollar bill?" Be showing it like, now that is the first approach, or shall we call it the icebreaker. And the victim will be thinking, $100 bill for what? Because he's not really sure what's going on. Now, there are a few things going on here. First is a verbal, "Sir, do you have change for $100 bill?" Second is a hand movement. He's showing you the $100 bill. So the visual and the verbal is working together to implant that in the victim's head. So the victim will be thinking like, $100 bill, $100 bill, $100 bill.
Overloading is one of the ways where they are able to bypass the conscious mind, because the conscious mind have been overloaded with a lot of things that it starts to impair the ability of doing critical filtering.
So that's repetition there. And then the pukau-artist will be saying, "Please sir, I need change for $100 bill for my child. He's hungry." And he'll repeat that a few more times. And now in the victim's head, it's only $100 bill and helping this guy's child. So one thing is missing there. How can I help? That's what is sticking in the victim's head. The mind can only focus at one thing at a time. So the victim will be thinking, hey, $100 bill, feeding a man's child, benefiting from it. Now that is rapport. When the pukau-artist realizes that the victim understood that, he will say, time to manipulate.
Memang dia tak keluar. Dia pegang duit tu. Saya tengok dia pegang. Sana bercakap. Dia pengawal kau orang dia bercakap dengan saya. Yang keliling dia awasi. Tapi saya heran duit saya, dia tak, orang kata dia tak keluar duit, dia tak keluar. Dia tak keluar duit.
The tricksters had done enough to impair Urmia's awareness and consciousness, shifting his attention away from his wallet at just the right moment, and simply pulled his money out in broad daylight right before him. Daring? Yes. Professional? Yes. Supernatural? Certainly not. While these trickster cases are easily explained here, things get a lot more puzzling when it comes to hypnotizing or influencing a person and controlling him for up to 12 hours of solid pukau. We have seen the type of pukau that can be accomplished in a matter of minutes and seconds. But what if it could be used to conquer one's mind for hours and hours?
The mind are basically or essentially divided in two parts. The conscious part of the mind are very critical, know what is good, what is bad, what is true, what is false, whereas the unconscious mind lack the ability to rationalize. The unconscious mind actually works on emotion. And this part, although do not do critical thinking, but is our driving force. When there is a conflict between the conscious and the unconscious mind always wins.
Retired Army officer Abdullah Sani was minding his own business one morning.
Pada kira-kira pukul 8:30 hingga ke pukul 9 lah. Saya baru pergi ke Pekansari.
To make a decision of selecting the appropriate victim. Now, the offender does his homework. He or she will not just pick anyone out of the crowd.
Sampai di persimpangan, didatangi satu orang. Bila saya sampai dekat, dia beri salam. Waalaikumsalam.
The man proceeded to ask him if he knew a person with a particular name.
Jadi saya jawab, saya tak kenal lah, kata.
Typically, for an offender of such crime, this individual is well dressed.
Perwatakan orang ni mana tu warna smart, bergaya, Dan pakaian dia bersih lah, maknanya dalam segi itu tidak mencurigakan.
When this situation is already built, it makes it easier for the hypnotism to occur and the crime to occur.
Abdullah was joined by yet another person, and they soon started talking to each other in all seriousness. The pukau-artist then takes out a mysterious object, which they described between themselves as being extremely rare and magical. The object can provide emotional and monetary wealth, they said, and not meant to fall to unworthy hands.
There's always a certain degree of greed that is involved. When we talk about greed, we are not only talking about money. Some people are having greed about their health, something that they do not have, but they crave for it.
Betul-betul tangan ni, barang berharga. Saya tak jawab apa, tak pegang pun apa tu. Dia, antara dia dengan yang beg tu bercakap dengan tu, barang berharga semua ni.
When they look at the victim, they know that these people needs good health and all this. They play along this line, affecting the unconscious mind so that they will be able to carry out whatever they want them to do without the conscious mind being too critical.
Saya kata saya bukan nak beli ni, saya bukan ada duit, saya bukan. Kita tak apa, balik dulu, ambil dokumen, kita boleh kat bank keluar duit.
So the situation is being manipulated by the offender, whereby he manipulates your cognition, your creativity, and you are not aware that you're actually lying to yourself, following the wants and desires of the offender. In hypnotism or pukau, one element which is often cited by victims is the use of words which are repeated over and over again. This again focus attention on one element.
Then you overload the conscious mind. Then the conscious mind will just give up, and then the suggestion would then go direct to the unconscious mind without going through the conscious mind filtering.
Jadi saya tak langsung dalam sedar tak sedar tadi mana tu. Diorang tu tinggal pekan sari.
By this time, the two tricksters had already established a significant influence over Abdullah's mind in getting him to go wherever they wanted.
Semua masalah dengan pakcik Nabi sebelum ni, semua kesalahan yang pakcik ada sebelum ni bukan hilang. Sebab barang ni saya kira nanti pakcik.
They kept on repeating the same well-rehearsed lines to make sure Abdullah remained under their control, and soon they were ready to have him go home and then to the bank.
In the case of pukau, I would think the artist or the criminal has already control or influenced the conscious mind, and it is going through the working of the unconscious mind.
Tak boleh nak bercakap macam itu, tak boleh bercakap apa ni, cuma mengikut arahan, tak boleh cakap apa.
So pukau is where you are awake, you're focusing your attention on one or two very limited items, where your peripheral attention is diminished. So your attention is fully focused on one element or one object.
To avoid raising suspicion, the pukau-artist asked to be dropped at a nearby mosque, confident that Abdullah would return for them, while Abdullah alone continued his journey back home, still oblivious to the situation.
Banyak kali diberitahu, jangan beritahu sesiapa pun. Yang kawan ini barang berharga lah, itu dua perkara. Nak sembahyang sunat, barang ni berharga apa-apa. Saya tak ada sebab nak kata nak, tak ada.
The pukau-artists had implanted a seat of command within Abdullah that remained for quite a while. With the passbook, Abdullah proceeded to the bank.
Saya parking kereta, saya naik atas, keluar duit 20,000. Jadi perempuan saya tak saya beritahu lah nak ke mana. Tak ada. Saya memang tak ada beritahu apa pun. Pegawai yang bertugas itu, dia kata, apa banyak ni? Dia tegur saya, kenapa banyak sangat 20,000 ni? Saya tak ada kata apa, tak tahu macam mana, tak boleh nak jawab. Kata nak buat apa tujuan. Jadi saya diam lah.
You say that this person is acting normally. He may respond to you just like he normally does. It's just that the attention is focused on one object. The focus is go to the bank, get the money, give the money to the offender. So whatever happens during the journey at the bank counter is superfluous. He can respond, but the response is in order to get the cash for the offender.
Dalam tempoh masa itu bukan dekat 11 jam. Jadi keadaan saya tidak macam hayal tak apa ya. Hayal ataupun tidak pasti lagi apa yang akan terjadilah.
Abdullah's case was not at all rare nor unusual. There have been many similar reports in the local newspapers as well as in police records. And one such case belonged to 65-year-old Makna.
Lepas Mak Ngah dia kena usik orang tu, sebaru itulah Mak Ngah rasa macam kosong, macam tak ada apa-apa, macam Mak Ngah bodoh. Apa kata dia orang, Mak Ngah ikut.
65-year-old Makna, grandmother to 14 grandchildren, was similarly taken under control for about 8 hours by some pukau experts, taking Makna away on a very costly drive around her small town. They helped her empty her 2 bank accounts from separate banks, and even taking away all of the many gold jewelry on her.
Kita baru Ngah masuk mandi, semayang asar. Lepas semayang asar, barulah Ngah terbuka kepala Ngah ni, Ngah kata, aku ni dah kena tipu. Masa itulah barunya berkobar-kobarnya hati tu kan. Ngatakan kita kena tipu ni. Memang tak merasa habislah.
The extraordinary thing about what happened to Abdullah and Makna in these cases were that they were put under a spell for no less than 8 hours. Compared to quick hands and clever teamwork, the cases here are much more complex and mystifying. But as our experts have established, it appears that the pukau-artists were relying extensively on a sequence of combined gestures and actions, suggestion and manipulation. But how does one explain yet another type of pukau, where an entire house can be put to sleep without even coming face to face with the pukau-artists? So far, it is becoming clear that when it comes to spells and crimes of the mind, there are a lot more elements of physical and psychological manipulation than is commonly understood by the general public. And it is nothing beyond the limits of natural human behavior. A pukau artist can coexist among us, blending into our everyday lives, cloaked by the cover of innocent daylight. But as dusk sets in, an ancient, more sinister type of mind criminal emerges into our very shadows. Since the 70s, there has been a peculiar type of crime occurring in Malaysia, involving breaking and entering into homes with the alleged use of pukau. A spell is seemingly cast upon the entire house, and everyone inside is put to sleep. Victims will wake up to find their homes ransacked and burglarized, and these cases are often distinguished by the same telltale elements. Shoes and stones neatly arranged at their point of entry, food and drinks half consumed, feces and urine near the doorway. All of these clues and telltale elements seem to recur frequently in numerous testimonies from victims and the police alike. One, Mrs. Rosmawati, was a recent victim in her own home.
Pada hari tersebut, pada 28 Oktober 2008, merupakan hari Deepavali. Banyak jugalah program-program TV sempena perayaan Deepavali tu, jadi kami menontonlah beberapa rancangan. Jadi habis selesai siaran pada pukul 1:30 pagi, barulah kami sekeluarga naik ke atas. Seperti biasa, dia akan selalu membaca akhbar sebelum tidur. Dan dia ingat masa dia padamkan lampu untuk tidur tu pukul 2:30 pagi.
As the lights switched off, the family fell into a sleep so deep that the next 45 minutes would still remain a mystery for them to this day. That night, all 4 of her young daughters had opted to sleep together in the same room. When the second eldest daughter got up to visit the bathroom, a shocking sight awaited her. The room that they had all been sleeping soundly in had literally been thrashed around.
Pada pukul 3 suku, saya dapat panggilan telefon melalui handphone. Saya bangun, saya tengok dari anak saya.
Startled by a phone call originating from just across the hall, Rosmawati feared that something bad had gone wrong.
Anak saya kata, pintu bilik ibu berkunci ke tidak? Ayung rasa ada orang dah masuk ke dalam rumah kita. Saya tanya dia, macam mana tahu? Dia kata sebab barang-barang dalam bilik dia dan bilik di sebelah lagi tu berserakan.
The daughters secured themselves in their room, not knowing if the intruder was still in the house.
Nak bercakap kuat pun tak berani. Jadi saya masuk bilik air, telefon polis dari bilik air.
The police arrived soon after that and quickly secured the perimeters. The intruders had already disappeared by then.
Kalau kita lihat dari masa suami saya padamkan lampu pada pukul 2:30 pagi, dalam jangka masa 45 minit tu, saya rasa saya telah tidur lama lah, sebab saya rasa puas tidur masa tu, walaupun baru 45 minit. Jadi dalam masa 45 minit tu memang agak kata kita sendiri pun agak hairan lah.
Rosmawati felt as though the house had been hit by a hurricane.
Saya rasa setiap inci bilik tu digeledah. Dari almari, bawah-bawah susunan buku anak saya pun turut dicarinya. Di bawah lipatan baju-baju dalam almari pun, dalam laci-laci, bawah tilam pun turut dicari selongkar.
For most victims, the core element of this type of pukau is always the silence that conceals the break-in. But as a matter of fact, it isn't silent at all. They literally do break their way in with noise, rummaging and ransacking their way within inches of sleeping victims without waking a single person up. On further inspection, police found fascinating clues that seemed consistent with other similar cases of pukau. They told her how the robbers had broken their way in through a window, using tools no different from any other crime, and certainly no less indiscreet.
Tempat diorang masuk tu, diorang tinggalkan satu beg, dan dalam beg tu ada peralatan lah. Ada spana, ada jack kereta dan alat-alat lain, dan juga sepasang slipper. Dan dalam rumah masa pemeriksaan tu, di bahagian atas, polis menjumpai satu kotak susu lah, yang diambil dari peti sejuk. Dia keluar melalui pintu hadapan, dia pakai kasut suami saya pula. Kasut dia tinggalkan.
Once again, telltale elements of the pukau, the half-consumed milk and the slippers this time, were clearly there to be seen.
Masa polis sedang memeriksa ni, saya terdetik, adakah aku ni dipukau? Memandangkan sebab anak-anak saya langsung tidak sedar bila dia masuk dalam bilik.
When the family began to calm down, there was yet another surprise waiting for them. the intruders had simply walked out of the front gate with their second car, which had been locked safely inside the compound.
Seingat saya memang saya tak ada dengar bunyi alarm ataupun bunyi bunyi kereta di bawah tu.
Rosmawati and her family had been robbed of a car and a range of other valuables. But the sheer baffling nature of the break-in and the elements left behind caused the family to live in fear for the next few months, not knowing when or how to prevent such incidents again. But these visual cues and bizarre elements, were they left behind simply to create such an effect among the victims and their neighbors? Or are there really special powers wielded by these pukau-artists beyond our understanding?
There are some instances where many people would say there is an element of supernatural, but there is no evidence at the moment.
The pukau-artist may have in contact with one of the victims, and we do not know. Probably the pukau-artist may have installed a certain auditory anchor whereby whenever this person hears this sound, they will be brought into a certain state of mind.
It's very intangible. In some cases whereby it's a clear case of break and entry, until the offender is caught, only then we will know whether or not the offender has used hypnotism as an MO, modus operandi. Otherwise, what the police will do, they will take the case clearly as a break and entry.
In all of these cases, there is nothing to confirm nor deny the supernatural. But one very different case has provided compelling evidence towards just that. The case of the invisible serial rapist, with no less than 28 hypnotic rape cases under his name. The case eventually revealed some very startling information about the nature and ways of the crime. This is Ops Bajulabo, otherwise known as Operation Longshirt. In 1996, a suburban area of Kuala Lumpur was totally in the grip of fear for 6 long months as an invisible serial rapist terrorized the neighborhood, slipping silently into homes under the cover of night, wearing only a long t-shirt and nothing else. An ex-police officer who eventually apprehended this notorious criminal recalls about that period.
Pada masa tersebut, kes Ops Baju Labuh telah membuatkan penduduk-penduduk tempatan tidak berasa selamat. Jadi ianya merupakan satu tekanan juga kepada pihak polis apabila media-media cetak turut membentangkan kisah Ops Baju Labuh yang menjadikan ianya begitu hangat sekali pada masa tersebutlah.
The elusive rapist, who would enter homes wearing only a long t-shirt, had by then raped 28 young girls using some form of hypnosis.
Penjenayah kita tidak dapat pastikan cara dia memasuki rumah orang tanpa kesan pecah dan juga merupakan modus operandi yang sama dan dilakukan lebih kurang 20 kes ke atas.
Already under severe pressure to apprehend the rapist, Sufyan and his 2 colleagues, forming a special plain-clothed crime prevention unit, were out on their usual patrol that night, when with a slice of good luck, they had their dramatic breakthrough.
Suasana pada malam tersebut agak berlainan sekali kerana kawasan yang saya lalui itu agak begitu gelap, yang kebiasaannya kawasan itu terang, boleh dikatakan blackout pada waktu itu. Jadi saya bersama rakan-rakan saya telah menghala di satu lorong dan
a truly suspicious character emerged from a drain, eyeing a house in front. The crime of pukau exists among us, and sometimes those who practice it fascinate us with the artistry of their con. And sometimes we live in fear because of the indefensible way they violate our privacy. Due to their own strict code of conduct, perhaps, these crimes have never been known to be violent. But there was one who fervently practiced the art of pukau for a purpose not unlike a pact with the devil. For 6 months, Kuala Lumpur police were in a state of high alert for the long-shirt rapist. Plain-clothed policemen were dispatched on frequent patrols when one night a group of them stumbled upon a mysterious man. Amazingly, the intruder made no attempt to run away, and later, once caught by the 3 policemen, the intruder still retained his composure while being questioned.
Inilah orang dia. Inilah progo yang kita cari tu.
Apabila saya memegang tangan tersebut, dia begitu terperanjat sekali. Seolah-olah dia menyangkakan yang kita tidak nampak wajahnya, ataupun kita tidak nampak dia pada waktu itu. Selepas saya menggarikan suspek, terlintas di fikiran saya bagaimana suspek tersebut berasa begitu rileks sekali.
But the calmness was only a precursor to the powers he was about to invoke.
Cakap betul. Dengan siapa ni? Ambil, tolong tu ni. Asal-Dewata, kembalikan kuasamu kepadaku.
He began chanting hard a strange mantra in a foreign language.
Saya anggap ini memang merupakan satu jampi, yang mana pada masa yang sama Mansur berasa keadaannya begitu lain sekali.
Sufyan's colleague began finding his entire body becoming constricted, as if invisible lines were binding him.
Bulu romanya begitu tegak dan dia rasa dia pun tidak mampu untuk bergerak. Lantas saya teringat untuk melawan pukau.
He had heard from his elders that one could break such spells by urinating near the spellmaker. True or false, his colleague did recover soon after that. In spite of all the ruckus and commotion, not a single neighbor appeared to have noticed the arrest that night.
Kerana semasa saya menangkap suspek yang mana berlaku pergelutan dan juga dengan jeritan-jeritan yang diselang-selikan, memang kawasan itu mungkin telah digunakan, atau lebih jelas lagi mungkin dia telah memukau kawasan tersebut.
Suddenly, the police authorities found themselves face to face with their notorious serial rapist, and he was very visible. Up to that point, he had gotten away with no less than 28 cases, with victims being raped under a state of unconsciousness and not a single hard evidence pointing towards his methods and ways. It would take a very special officer and many weeks of interrogation to bring out the truth from him. Hamadan is not your usual run-of-the-mill detective. With an unassuming manner and a high intellect, he has trained with Scotland Yard, is one of the top forensic experts in the country, and has an innate ability to connect with criminals, just like a reverse pukau-artist.
Ketika itu, waktu itu hampir-hampir dekat subuh, kami semua berumah, tiba-tiba bos telefon untuk menghala ke balai Sungai W secepat mungkin dengan pasukan khas. Jadi bila terima telefon tu, kita dah agak-agak berkemungkinan suspek minyak ini telah ditangkap.
Upon arriving, he didn't expect to find the suspect to be so young and calm, considering the situation the suspect was in.
Saya tengok gerak-geri tangan dia, gerak-geri muka, dan tentangan mata sama mata, suspek hendak menceritakan sesuatu. Inilah masa dia, saya hendak masuk ke dalam jiwa dia, atau kita dalam aspek psikologi, we jump into his mind.
As it turned out, he was not only jumping into the mind of a serial rapist, but also a master pukau-artist.
Perang psikologi saya gunakan ke atas suspek ketika itu adalah pendekatan secara lembut, iaitu banyak kepada pertuturan. Saya selalu membawa watak yang saya senyum banyak ketawa dengan suspek, dan kemudiannya dapat menjiwai apa yang saya nak daripada suspek ketika itu.
Amidan unraveled the suspect's initial defenses. He soon began opening up to Amidan, confessing of seeking some forbidden powers that required him to rape 79 young virgins. The interrogation went on for days and weeks as Amidan went over every one of the 28 cases concerned.
Perkataan yang sering digunakan adalah main. Dalam arti kata yang sini adalah untuk mendapatkan darah-dara. Apa yang buat tuntut dia ni? Dia kata saya tuntut ilmu mau nampak muda sehingga selama-lamanya. Hampir 30 kes ini kami tidak jumpa pun apa kesan-kesan yang mani, dan dari sini dapat menunjukkan suspek maukan darah daripada anak dara sunti ini.
His interviews with many of the victims revealed that while they were not conscious nor aware of themselves during the rape, there were certainly signs of penetration which were discovered the next morning. It would suggest that it wasn't quite a crime of passion in this case, a conclusion that Sufyan very much agrees with.
Setiap mangsa-mangsa yang kita kenal pasti ataupun mangsa-mangsa yang membuat aduan, dia ni tidak, orang kata, main hentam saja, mana dia begitu terancam.
Suspek akan mengikut mangsa-mangsa ini sampai ke jejak rumah, kemungkinan sampai 3 atau 4 kali untuk memastikan suspek datang dari rumah tersebut. Selepas kenal pasti rumah atau tempat mangsa tinggal, beliau suspek akan berjalan buat tinjauan atau riki di belakang rumah, cara menaiki rumah dengan tidak memecahkan rumah.
The victims sometimes complained of the feeling that perhaps someone was watching them and maybe stalking them prior to their encounter.
Dia akan cuba untuk mengetahui di mana target-target dia tinggal. Dia akan meneliti suspek-suspek tersebut. Dia akan cuba mengenali suspek-suspek tersebut.
Kebanyakan kita tidur akan buka tingkap, dia memanjat tiang elektrik atau tiang telefon atau dinding belakang dan terus dapat masuk ke dalam rumah mangsa.
The rapist had surprisingly been very cooperative. What remained now was to ask how the pukau actually worked.
Apabila masuk ke dalam rumah, kebanyakan dan kesemua suspek mangsa-mangsa mesti tidak sedar diri. Ikut kata suspek ketika itu, beliau telah memasang ayat-ayat yang sepatutnya digunakan dalam itu.
The suspect had described in great detail how he would suck on a menthol sweet and collect his saliva to then release into the victim's mouth with minimal contact. Apparently, it would help retain the victim's state of unconsciousness. This last testimony from the rapist perfectly matched the testimonies of most victims that remembered tasting something sweet and cooling in their mouths during the night of the incident. This creates a solid link between the pukau-artist and his victims, enabling Amidan to verify the confessions of the pukau based on the victim's independent statements.
Banyakkan mangsa langsung tidak sadarkan diri meragut darah dari anak dara sunti ini. Yang setakat ini itulah proses yang paling senang saya tengok dilakukan oleh seseorang penjaya. Tidak ada pergulutan. hampir dekat sebulan setengah kami duduk semeja hari-hari. Antara dialog-dialog yang masih saya ingat adalah apabila dia suspek memberitahu wak saya telah langkah pantang dan terus menangis. Lepas tu wak apa pantang wak telah lakukan. Macam ni wak saya telah mengucupi dari ni seorang bayi perempuan umur 3 bulan.
It was a baby he had encountered in the house of his last victim, and it reminded him of his own baby. It would seem the rapist never harmed the other people in the house as he entered, but the simple, innocent act of kissing a baby's forehead was also part of the rule and the vow he had taken. And breaking this rule was apparently enough to cause his powers to fail him the night he was caught, ending his reign of terror. To this day, there have been innumerable cases of pukau in Malaysia and countless more across the world. And while one headline case has led experts to believe that certain types of pukau do contain elements of the supernatural, other types of pukau are more convincingly explained by sleight of hand, by overloading the human cognition, or through pure hypnosis. The key to resisting pukau, then, is not to be taken in by the mystique of the supernatural, and to see normal cases for what they really are, pure human trickery.
Pukau dan dia silap.
Betul lah kena pukau tu rasanya.
Tenggelam puncak.
So beware of the eyes that are watching you, for they may be the eyes of pukau, and will leave you spellbound.